Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes and I am delighted, so delighted that you can be with us today. Oh, my dear friends, we have something very interesting and enjoyable, I think, to present to you today because our guest, Sue Elliott, tells us that she is a very ancient soul and she is here now to help humanity rise up to a higher level of consciousness based in divine, unconditional love. And I'll tell you, I think she's right because I think many people now are here to do that very same thing. I know a lot of them personally, and I'm meeting more and more of them. But she has had kind of an interesting pre-life. Through her decades of work as a coach, writer, and speaker, she's already helped millions of people, she says, to heal old patterns, connect with divine guidance, and live with greater ease, joy, and peace. She says she's always been highly sensitive, but she tells us now that she led a pretty normal, she says, life before she started receiving messages from the angels. Now, she and I talked beforehand because, of course, I have my dear Thomas, and he's not an angel at all. I can tell you, I'm not supposed to talk about him. He says now, all right, I won't. But she says she led a normal life before she started receiving, and I should just say I left a normal life, pretty normal, about when I was close to 60 years old. And I knew there was a Thomas somewhere in my life, but I had never met him until then. So I guess she and I are kind of in the same position. She lived a normal life before she started receiving messages from the angels who were going to help her. For 30 plus years, she was a magazine editor and writer. She specialized in creating brand new automotive enthusiast magazines. That's pretty normal. And chef recipe food magazines. She launched a personal transformational magazine. That one was sold on newsstands nationwide. So she's doing normal-ish things. And then after that non-linear journey, and we would agree with her, so that's certainly kind of non-linear, she worked and she actually owned a couple of marketing agencies. She served as a spokesperson for the automotive aftermarket. She's ghostwritten 2 books for actor and environmentalist Ed Begley Jr. Now, I'm going to have to ask her afterward, why? That's a familiar name. He was a famous guy, too. Mm-hmm. And she's even held leadership roles at health technology and educational technology startups. So she had all kinds of things. And all of that experience has enabled Sue Elliott to help countless people as they released limiting beliefs. And most people do have limiting beliefs. We should talk to her about that. Learn to trust their intuition and feel the profound support that is always available from the angels, she tells us, and from the divine. Now, I think I should just say parenthetically that it's probably not even possible to start to learn how to help people to get that extraordinary help from the angels and from the divine until you have done all of these other things. Oh, my dear, beautiful Sue, welcome to Seek Reality, because now you're going to try to help us to get some of that same help today. Welcome, dear.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for that beautiful introduction. It's sometimes surprising to hear what I've done. It was a lot of different things.
A lot of different things. Well, I had done a lot of things too. I always knew that there was a being in my life, but I didn't meet him until he came out to me. And he had had an interesting set of lives in his previous lifetime. His next to last, he reminds me, lifetime before he became a spirit guide. And I was still am, his first sort of guidance victim. I want to call him a victim because of some of the things he's guided me through doing. But his next to last lifetime was as a name you'll recognize. He was Thomas Jefferson. He said, and he when he came out to me as my guide, he said, "You can call me Thomas because you're going to want to call me Thomas anyway." And he was right, of course. I have wanted to call him Thomas. But that was who he was. He reminds me, is not now, but was then. And part of what was curious and funny about it was that I got to meet that separate being who was Thomas Jefferson in the astral plane once because I wanted to ask him a question, and I did get to ask him a question. Standing there was the being Thomas Jefferson. Wow, I couldn't get over meeting Thomas Jefferson. Oh, I was such a groupie. But sitting here was my spirit guide. Two different beings, very different beings. They looked a little alike, but that was it. So I got to understand your guide, if you have a spirit guide, and most people do, is a different person from what he was in his last previous lifetime. Answered that question for me pretty well. But now let's talk about what you do now. You have a beautiful book, and we'll talk about that. And I have read a little bit of it. I had to kind of get into it and understand that basically you stopped doing guidance for people and you started doing guidance through that book, which was beautiful, just beautiful. So tell us now a little bit about what it's like. I think you have baby angels instead of a spirit guide or a group of spirit guides.
Yes. So I have, well, of course, they're infinite beings, but legions of angels are available to all of us. They want to say that to start, right? There's no limit to what angels can do as infinite beings. They can help all of us simultaneously. And the way I connect with the angels is very general. I don't know specific angels by name. I don't see specific angels. They just allow me to call on the angels, and same for everybody else. They know who does what. We don't have to figure out. Now, they want to say if you love learning about angels and you want to get to know angels' names, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's the energy calling you forward. That's the curiosity and the enthusiasm. But you don't have to know any of that to work with angels. You really just get to say, angels, surprise and delight me. Or angels, thank you for taking care of. And you get to fill in the blank. That's actually our favorite angel tool. We call it the angel delegation statement. So instead of praying or asking or even begging, which people tend to do when they're really concerned about something, the angels like us to say, thank you, angels, for taking care of my body, my child, my work, whatever it is that we're worried about. Because, first of all, they're already on it, right? They're with us. They know us. They love us. They're helping us with everything. We allow them. Well, even if we don't allow them, they're helping as much as they can on a free will planet. And when we acknowledge that they're already on it by saying thank you, then we get to feel some relief. Then we get to acknowledge truth. And whenever we acknowledge truth with a capital T, we feel lighter. We feel relief. We feel a little bit less of the load of the weight of the world on our shoulders. So they want to say when we use the angel delegation statement to ask for that guidance or help, if we don't feel any relief, just play with the words, make it a little more general. Like notice that when we gave examples, we didn't say, thank you, angels, for helping with the excruciating pain in my back that I've had for 17 years and just won't go away no matter what I do. Because you're probably not going to feel a lot of relief when you get that far down the story. Like, thank you for taking care of my body. Thank you for taking care of me. If that doesn't bring you relief, when I'm really spun out, I'll say, thank you for taking care of everything. And then I feel much better because I know they are taking care of everything.
Okay, so if people want the care of angels, they can ask for the care of angels. If people want the care of a spirit guide, they can ask for the care of a spirit guide?
I am not an expert on spirit guides. The angels say that we don't have to even differentiate, right? All
Yes.
we have to
I
do
must
is
agree.
acknowledge that there's support, and the
Yeah.
support is there for us.
Yeah. Thomas tells us that we don't have to differentiate at all. We can just, spirit help is there, whatever we choose to call it. That's exactly what he just said.
I just got a wave of goosebumps. The angels wholeheartedly agree.
which I think is great. We can use all the help we could get. Yeah, you just
Yeah.
nodded.
And the angels love to simplify it like that, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
as humans are so good at making things complicated. We
Oh,
need to know their
yeah.
names and we need to ask them properly and we need to follow protocols and we
We
need to use symbols.
differentiate between them, which is nonsense, he says, because there's no differentiation between us either. We are
Right.
all we he says we will learn that we are all one with God. Therefore, we
Exactly.
are all one being. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. We even have a section in the book where we talk about our definition of oneness is because I love jewels, right? Shiny, sparkly things. The angels showed me one giant jewel, like the biggest sparkly diamond you can imagine. And they say that is the divine. And we're each a different facet on the
Yeah.
one jewel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we each have different perspective because each facet is at a slightly different or very different angle from the other facets. And that's magical. We're each an individuated expression of the divine for the joy of experiencing life as Roberta or as Sue. It's a joy for the divine to experience the world through us.
Yeah. But the overriding point is that the guidance is there and it's available to everyone. And I think that's the thing that they all want us to understand. Now, your book is called My Angel Coach. Receive your divine guidance and feel the angel's love. And that's a beautiful title. That's a wonderful title. But it sort of has another subtitle too. It's the other sort of final subtitle is 63 messages to support and uplift you. So you could sort of treat it as a book that you read in stages. You read a little bit every night, for example, which I think is wonderful. The messages in it really are messages that you could read little by little. Keep on your bedside table, for example, and read it one a night or something like that. You could read it little by little. Read it as lessons. Read it as however you like. But it's quite a lovely book of coaching, really, of teaching, which is what you were doing before. And so this kind of lets you spread that out a little more to a lot more people. What would you
Yes.
say is the most difficult problem most people have, say, as they enter the mature stage of life? Because they've had some lessons now, and some of those lessons were harder than others, and some of them kind of made them feel bent up and used and sort of, some of them made him feel as if we say in Texas about a horse, they've been rid hard and put up wet, and now they're kind of bent out of shape. And what do they have to free themselves up now? What's
Thank you
hard?
thank you for asking that. The angels and I like to use a really technical term for that. We call it gunk. And so even before we're born, we start picking up gunk, right? We're in utero. We're being acclimated to the family we're being born into. We're being acclimated to the town, the nation, right? The culture, religion, if there was a religion in the family, all of that stuff from the youngest age. Dr. Bruce Lipton likes to talk about how when we're first born, we come in and we're wide open. We have no filter. We take everything in as the truth of our reality, and it becomes the rules to live by. By the age of 7 or 8, we start to have a little bit of a filter, but that's a long time to be taking in all this stuff. And then we move through life and things happen, right? There's almost no one on this planet who hasn't experienced some trauma, some heartbreak, some shaming, guilting, all of those things that end up leaving us feeling like we've been rode hard and put away wet, right? Like I came in innocent and eager and excited about this lifetime. And by the time I hit, depending on your experiences, 5 or 15 or 50, I feel kind of beaten down by it. So
Yeah.
one of the reasons we created this book actually was to dissolve gunk. So the gunk is the stuff that's not the truth of who you are as your higher self or your soul whatever words you like to use. The angels aren't particular about wording, as we've already talked about.
Yeah.
All of that stuff, the subconscious programming, the limiting beliefs, the rules we made for ourselves when we were 2 years old that made perfect sense to a 2-year-old, but aren't really so helpful when we're more mature. All of that stuff, the angels can dissolve for us very easily and gently. So there are many, many practices and processes out there, and they're not averse to any of that. If it's serving you, if it's supportive for you, by all means, use it. And one of the things we have in the book is angel attunement cards. So every chapter starts with this combination of words and pictures that the angels infused with energy to dissolve gunk. So whatever is related to that chapter or what's up in your life, because the angels know you and love you, they will begin the process of dissolving all of that from your system. And you don't have to get the book. You can say, angels, dissolve my gunk, please. Thank you for dissolving my gunk. And they're on it. They will absolutely help with that. We like for you to play with the book because there's lots of stories and there's pictures that make it memorable and help you remember that you have angels available to you all day, every day, who are so happy to help with whatever is going on in your life.
Well, that's good to know that you don't have to, because one of the things that people have asked me, actually quite surprisingly often, is I want to make a better relationship with my spirit guide. And what is my guide's name? How can we have tea together? That sort of thing. But what you're saying is you don't even have to name your angels. You can just say angels, and angels do this, angels do that, and you got a team of angels. And you don't even have to have names for them. You can just ask them to do it in general ways, these general things.
Yes.
Now, one of the things I asked before we began to talk for the world, Sam, my engineer, and I asked, do they have wings? And you said, well, I've never seen them. I don't know if they have wings. And we like to envision them. So I'd like to envision them with wings.
Absolutely.
And, maybe lovely halos that sparkle. That would be nice.
Oh, tiaras.
Yeah.
So the angels want to say that we can envision them in any way that pleases us, right? Whatever brings us comfort or joy or tickles our fancy, like that, they love that. They're all about that. They say that they're often seen as having wings because they have higher perspective. And so it sort of conjures that image of eagle's eye view.
That
they can see. Yeah. And they can see from a higher perspective than we can see at ground level. As non-physical beings, they can be everywhere simultaneously. They don't need a mode of transportation like wings or cars or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with imagining them with wings. And it's quite possible that many of them have wings if they choose to.
Yeah.
And they do want to go back to that. Don't have to know which angel to ask because, if you're having problems with your car, it's making a funny noise. Like there are angels who are excited about working on cars and they can help. And if you're having problems cooking something,
sort of golden wrench or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they'll direct you to the divinely perfect shop to get the work done where, who knows? Sometimes we have these kinds of little hiccups along life, right? Like the car is making a weird noise, or for us, the HVAC system was making a puddle in the basement. And it's so that we can interact with somebody amazing who has an answer to a question we were just holding, or maybe is going to be the love of your life. Like we can't know if we can be a little less concerned with the things that go quote unquote wrong in life and a little bit more. Thank you, angels, for taking care of whatever that thing is. Our life will feel easier. We'll get less tied up in knots inside. And we'll enjoy the journey.
Open to joy. There are going to be so many things possibly bringing us joy in this day. So thank you, God, for all the things that might be bringing me joy today.
They Yeah. And the angels love it when we say, angels surprise and delight me. Because they know what we love. They know what we don't like. They can come up with solutions to problems, unfoldings that are so much more delicious than we could ever imagine. The personal transformation magazine I created was called Law of Attraction. And it was very much, back in that day, it was like 2011 to 14. It was very much like envision what you want, manifest exactly what you desire, create the vision board. It was.
They surprise me. I can't even imagine the most wonderful things for me, but God can.
Yes, yes. And not just can, but really wants to shower us with blessings.
Oh, yeah.
With amazing, we've been given all these amazing gifts, and we can be given all these so fun opportunities to share our gifts like this. Like Roberta was talking about how much she loves doing this podcast and has been doing it for so long. That is such a gift and a blessing and a superpower. And we all have those.
Wonderful people you cannot imagine. So I've met so many wonderful people who are all shining in the place in the world where God has planted them. They have blossomed and flowered and shed their light and shed their glorious fragrance on their part of the world. Oh, it's so amazing to see how much of that happens. Golly.
And I
get
love
to see that, and I get to help them shine.
And I love that you talked about where they're planted, because the angels have been saying a lot for the last 3 or 4 years that some of us need to allow ourselves, not need. Some of us may now allow ourselves to transplant. So the angels are kind of moving us. The divine is moving us into what I like to think of as a fertile environment, right? They say it this way a lot. You can keep a tropical plant alive in the desert. You can give it lots of water. You can give it lots of fertilizer. You can make shade for it if it needs it. However, if you plant the tropical plant in a tropical environment, it takes so much less energy to survive, which frees up all that energy for thriving and flourishing. And we're just like that. Some of us are tropical plants in a desert right now. And when you're hearing this, if that resonates with you. Sometimes that means giving yourself permission to step out of a relationship that is no longer supportive. And the angels want us to not create story around that, right? We don't have to vilify anyone. We don't have to make ourselves wrong for having gotten into a job or a relationship or whatever it is that is no longer supportive, because some things aren't meant to last for our entire time on the planet. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're always evolving and growing and becoming more. We're blossoming into more, to come back to our plant analogies. And the angels want to say, if you haven't seen it, watch a video of a rose opening, because when it blossoms, it opens a little bit and then it'll pause. And sometimes it even closes a little, and then it opens a little more, and then it pauses, and then it might close a little more, and then it opens more. And we're doing that. We're on this journey of, we have this big growth spurt and we open, and then we kind of integrate or rest, or like climbing Mount Everest, you go a certain way and you stop at base camp and acclimate. And then we go a little further. And they want us to know that if we're not go, zooming forward on epiphany after epiphany, aha moment after aha moment, it's okay. It's divinely perfect. It's all being paced for us by the angels who are there to support us and help us enjoy the journey.
Perfect doesn't have to look like perfect to anybody else but you.
Yes. And the angels want to say we are so perfect already. The only thing they ever do, they don't fix us and they don't change us and they don't improve us. They just get rid of the gunk that isn't really us.
Yes. Some great sculptor. What did he say? I don't remember who it was either. And someone said to him, "How do you do your beautiful sculpture?" And he just said, "I just carve away everything that doesn't look like Michelangelo." And then there suddenly is a statue.
And you're right. It was Michelangelo who said that. So he just gets rid of the stuff that doesn't need to be there. And there is the David standing there.
Yeah, exactly. Everything that doesn't look like David, that's who said it. Oh, I thought, oh, what a beautiful thing to say. How could you? Of course. Yes, it was Michelangelo who said it.
And
I was very, very young when I read it, and I thought, oh, anybody could have that thought. But what a humble thought.
yes.
Just
And
kind of,
that's really what it is. Oh, they're so excited that we're having this conversation. So the angels are jumping up and down right now. Picture them doing the conga line if you want. They're excited because that what that Michelangelo quote really speaks to what it is to allow the divine to express through us. And that is what happens when we're in the zone. If you're an athlete or in a flow state, when we are not trying to seem a certain way or be a certain way or act a certain right, when we're just relaxed and really in the moment, the divine expresses through each of us differently.
yeah.
But we can do so much in so little time with so little effort. And sometimes things take longer, right? Like I'm sure, sculpting the David didn't happen in an afternoon. It took a minute to do that. But it feels so delicious when we let that divine flow through us. It feels like love. It feels like outpouring love in the unique way that only each of us can do.
I just, I thought, of course, how obvious, of course. How else could you do it?
That, of course, and how obvious is actually our favorite tool for knowing that it's divine guidance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people often come to us to try and figure out, what's the voices in my head and what's the angels guiding me or the divine guiding me forward.
Yeah.
And we love, of courseness as one of the signs because so many of the voices in our head either feel negative and critical or, they're shoulding, they're judging, they're complaining. Some are cheerleadery and they're maybe even manic, like, we got to do this, we got to do this now, we got to.
Yes.
The divine guidance has a very neutral energy, usually, almost always. And it feels like, of course, when we hear it, we're like, of course, that's the next step. Of course. In fact, sometimes my inner 8-year-old is like, duh, I knew that. But that's how we know. And other times it feels like that energy calling us forward, the curiosity, the interest, the eagerness, not that I can't go to sleep and it's 3 a.m. and I'm exhausted, kind of too much caffeine eagerness, but oh, I'm so interested in this thing. This is fascinating. Like that eagerness is the divine calling us forward.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, and you don't have to pray for it. Just open the top of your head and allow the prayer to happen. Allow God to come in and sit down, have a cup of tea. Because you've furnished your mind so well, nothing negative has been ever allowed to be there, only positive stuff. If you furnish your mind nicely, God will be glad to come in and have a cup of tea.
Oh, I love that visual of God coming into the top of your head and having a cup of tea in beautiful, comfortable furniture.
Yeah.
And the angels want to say, we don't have to be perfect, right? If you have a negative thought, it does not mean that God is going to strike you down or never come visit you, right? Wherever we are on the journey, we can receive our divine guidance from every emotional state. It's always coming to us. When we're scared, we're receiving divine guidance. When we're angry, we're receiving divine guidance. When we're blissed out, we're receiving divine guidance. It does not matter. The angels are always with us.
But they can help you, and your guide, if you have a guide, can help you to get rid of all negativity from your mind. You just forgive it all. And the way you forgive it is you just say, I love you, I bless you, I forgive, and I release. And it helps if you actually gather it up, and make a nice tight ball. And then you hold the ball of all that negativity, those angry feelings, those negative feelings, you hold them tight. And you say, I love you, I bless you, I forgive you, and I release. And then you push them away. If they're not all gone, you do it again. I love you and love them. You've got to love them. then you can't let them go until you've loved them. You love them, you bless them, you forgive them, and then you release them and you gently push them away.
I love this.
Third time, they're gone.
I love this. It's so akin to Ho'oponopono, if you're familiar with that, which is an ancient Hawaiian healing practice.
I'm told by Thomas that Jesus taught this. He taught it, but nobody ever did the hand motion, and you've got to do the hand motion. You have to push it away. You have to gather it and then push it away with your hands.
I love this practice.
There's no way to get rid of it if you aren't doing the hand motions. But when you do, and you forgive it and you release it, but you've got to love it and bless it first. You can't, otherwise you're still holding on to it.
And the angels want to jump in and talk about that loving it and blessing it, if I may. They want to say that part of you that feels angry or sad or embarrassed or frustrated, that aspect of you is so worthy and deserving of love, and it's crying out for your love. The angels want to jump up and down. One part of the book talks about loving your emotions. There's a whole section in the book on loving your emotions because they're just messengers, and we're so eager to shoot the messenger. When anger shows up, and a lot of us have been taught that anger is bad and wrong and we cannot be angry. Almost everybody grew up in a household where at least one emotion was forbidden. In some households, all emotions were forbidden. You were just supposed to, stiff upper lip, bite your tongue, be seen and not heard. But every emotion comes to us with a message. And so when we greet that emotion, hi, anxiety, what would you like me to know? And we see anxiety and we let anxiety or anger or jealousy deliver a message, then it feels loved. It feels seen. And it can go back to the sandbox. I like to picture them as cute little cartoon characters, and they go back to the sandbox and play until they have another message. But not only is that emotion bringing you a message, it's a part of you that feels that way, right? There's a part of Sue who's jealous and gets all upset sometimes when we see people doing big things on LinkedIn. That part of me is like, I want to do big things. Big things are great. Why aren't we doing big things? And so when I have a conversation with jealousy, and I can love jealousy and the part of me who feels jealous, then I am being divine unconditional love for myself. I'm not requiring myself to be perfect in order to be loved and seen by me. And the angels want to say, in order to co-create this world that's based in divine unconditional love, that Roberta so beautifully shared, that's what I'm here for, is to help us co-create this world that's based in divine unconditional love. It has to start with unconditional love for ourselves. And the angels want to say that again, because there is so much programming, collective programming on this planet that prevents that on purpose. When people don't utterly and unconditionally love themselves first before they take the next step in life, then it's much easier to manipulate and control them. If you do this, then you will receive love or a raise at work or praise, or you won't get punished, right? When you can give yourself everything that you would seek outside of you. And this has been my dance the last week or two, letting go of any need for external validation of any form, right? Checking how many books have sold, checking how many people have liked something on Facebook, right? When we can let go of all of that, getting the attaboys, the A+, the gold stars, when we can give that to ourselves, we're in our true power. And when we're in our true power, we can be love as we go out into the world. And that is unbelievably powerful. We know, it's not a surprise to hear that divine unconditional love is the most powerful energy in the cosmos. The minute we hear that, we're like, oh, of course that's more powerful than anger. Of course that's more powerful than frustration, pushing through, right? But we've been so conditioned to think that love is weak and emotions are wrong. And so the angels want to love us as we are and encourage us to love ourselves as we are.
Yeah. But it's very important to forgive everything too, to get it all out of the way. Every anger, every bit of negativity, every bit of, jealousy, or every negative emotion of any kind, to get rid of all of it. Because when you do, there's nothing left but love. And that grows and grows and grows until there's nothing but joy. And all that you're feeling all day long is joy. And you're so happy. And that feeds and feeds and feeds on itself until there's nothing but happiness in you all the time. I can't tell you how beautiful that is. And it's contagious. People just want to be around you. It's just a wonderful thing. You can shed joy everywhere you go. It's like being a flower. You can shed the fragrance of joy everywhere you go. It's wonderful.
And it's so much fun to choose what energy we want to bring everywhere we go. So sometimes it's joy. Sometimes we might want to bring peace to a place, or calm. Right? I used to go to a lot of trade shows in Las Vegas, and I would bring the energy of joy and peace. And the experience of walking through a trade show when you are consciously emanating joy and peace is so different than when you don't set an intention before you walk on the show floor. Yes. And I would meet new people, and by the time I'd finish talking to them for 5 or 10 minutes, we're hugging each other like old friends.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That. Yeah, that's a great feeling.
Yes. And we can be that. And the angels want us to be gentle with ourselves when we're not, right? There are moments where we're not meant to look at somebody kicking their dog and feel joy. Like, it's fine. You will see things that are not joy provoking, and we can be love, right? We can send that person love. We can send that dog love. We can center ourselves first. Maybe if we get really triggered by that, be love for ourselves, and then emanate it out into the world.
Oh, my dear, as I said, we would come to not just the end of our time, we would go over time. We always do when we're having fun. What do you want people to take away from our conversation?
You don't have to do anything fancy or special, or, meditate or get into a perfect energy to connect with the angels. They're with you always, wherever you are, however you're feeling in that moment. All you ever have to do is remember that you don't even have to, but we encourage you to remember and use the angel delegation statement. Just all day, every day, delegate to the angels. Thank you, angels, for taking care of the laundry. Thank you, angels, for taking care of my child. Thank you, angels, for taking care of my work. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for taking care of the country. Thank you for taking care of the planet. Just delegate, delegate, delegate. If anything crosses your mind and it doesn't feel like inner harmony, it feels like turbulence, delegate it to the angels. If you don't feel relief the moment you delegate it, play with the words, make it more general, right? We didn't say, thank you, angels, for taking care of the oil spill on I-80 right now. We said, thank you, angels, for taking care of the planet, right? The more general you go, the easier it is to feel relief.
Yes.
When you feel relief, you know it's working. So all the angels really want you to know is that they're always with you. They love you no matter what. That is what unconditional love is.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it.
Yep. There is nothing you can do to make them stop loving you. There's nothing you haven't done or haven't said or did say or did do that would make them stop loving you. They're with you, and they love you, and they are here to help.
They can teach you to love everything, and that's the beauty of it as well.
Yes.
That's just a basket full of joy for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, my dearly beloved friends, we've come to the end of our time together just for this week. We'll be back next week, but this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm so happy you could be with us today, and please never forget, you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began, and you never will end. And when you understand all the implications of that essential fact of your life, your eternal life, it's going to change everything in your life for the better. Now, next week, our guest will be our wonderful friend, Dr. R. Craig Hogan, who will be with us for a lovely 53rd time. Craig is my very dear special friend in doing afterlife research and educational work together. He maintains the seekreality.com website, which is the largest and the very best afterlife educational website in the world. He was our very first Seek Reality online guest as well, 13 years ago this month, which is when this podcast began. Since then, he has been our regular guest, usually about 4 times a year, which nicely works out to make this our 53rd visit together. Wow, what a faithful friend Craig is. And he always has something fresh to talk about every time he comes. So please try to be sure to be with us next week for his 53rd time for our celebration of 13 years together, and find out with all of us what's at the top of our very dear, beautiful friend Craig's mind now. And this week our guest has been Sue Elliott. Wow, Sue says she's always been sensitive, but I think now she's pretty amazingly sensitive. She talks with us about the angels. For 30 plus years, she's done other odd and amazing things, non-linear, as she says, and that's true, but that's given her the background to do all this work with the angels and to teach other people how to do that too. Her book, which I think is just a lovely book, is called My Angel Coach. Receive your divine guidance and feel the angels' love. I think it's the kind of book you put on your bedside and maybe do a little lesson with it each night, because I think that helps you grow spiritually. I really do. Sue has, I think, had enough of experience with the angels to really be able to help you open up to the angels too, and to work with them and to grow spiritually. Wow, what an amazing life, and what an amazing gift now to give to others. And we've really run off the end of our time this week, so once again, I can't tell you what my books are, but you can just go to Amazon and you'll see them all, or just go to my website. And meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy, please make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing for certain that you are a powerful, eternal being. And you, most of all in this entire universe, you are especially, infinitely, eternally, perfectly, and forever loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.